How can average working citizens like us, how can we reform our unjust financial system to erode the wealth and power of big banks, traditional corporations, and the super rich, and redistribute that wealth and power to average working citizens without relying on politicians or regulations? This is the question we ask on the Crowd Effect podcast. I am your host, Paul Lovejoy, activist investment advisor and founder of Stakeholder Enterprise. Now, on our last show, I did a replay of the first episode of my limited series podcast, and I re listened to it. And there were a couple of things that I noticed that my views have slightly changed a little bit. And I hope that you too can have your views change over time. Um, so I did record this first. I first did the research, over 2 years ago, and this was the part where I was saying, "Oh, I am not a socialist. I'm a stakeholder capitalist." Um, Now I'm certainly not a political socialist, but I would be fine if people wanted to call me a market-based socialist. Since writing up this that phrase, "I'm not a socialist," I have listened to other podcasts where socialists talk, and I think they have great ideas. Just if you could apply those ideas to the free market, to a market based approach, I think that would grow social enterprise and other vehicles of change that I'm not even aware of. So, that the episode that I replayed on the last show, I mentioned four different peer to peer solutions, which now I would call vehicles of change. They were social enterprise, impact investing, community development, financial institutions, and the circular economy. Today, I would call all of those vehicles of change. And while doing this limited series, that I think was the big um, revelation for me, was that there is actually a fifth vehicle of change that wasn't I wasn't even really aware of it until I constantly was working on this and redoing it. That fifth vehicle of change was, or is, crowd investing. In fact, I say this is a 6 episode limited series podcast. When I put that all together, I did a bonus episode called "What is Crowdfunding Investing?" And so uh, it would be great if people who consider themselves political socialists to perhaps take a look at market-based socialism, to apply some of these beliefs and put it into our economy and our free market. Start a company with these principles, and ultimately, I do still think that politics and laws and regulations and all that is forcing the change you wish to see in the world, and you're forcing other people to change. Now, I don't know about you, but when someone's trying to force me to change and I don't agree with that, it doesn't sit with me well, and I may do something about it. Oftentimes I just complain, but other times not. And we're seeing this today. Uh, people don't want to be forced into change, and that I see that with Republicans and Democrats trying to oppose or trying to impose their beliefs onto others. And this is why I love social enterprise, market based approach. I called it peer to peer solutions. Now I call them vehicles of change. That's why I love vehicles of change because it's non-confrontational. There is no forcing anybody. We can make the same change just with a different vehicle, a democratic vehicle of change, like social enterprise or crowd investing. And this is something that there doesn't need to be any debate around. It's because it will either survive in the free market or it won't. Um, so that's not to say that all regulations need to be gone tomorrow. It just doesn't work like that. This is a gradual process, and again, I think using a market based approach is organic and will organically gradually change. It's not like a law where all of a sudden on a certain date, things um, change right away, causing all kind of unintended consequences, um, or unanticipated consequences. So, the vehicle of change that I have chosen to dedicate my life to is crowd investing. And I want to help you become a crowd investor. I want to guide you into reforming your own personal financial habits, which will then uh, reform our own unjust financial system. It's by changing our own habits. Um, Gandhi, he's credited with be the change you wish to see in the world. Well, he actually never said those words. Instead, he said, if we can change ourselves, then the tendencies in the world would also change. And and that's really what um, crowd investing does. You're taking responsibility for your own financial habits, your own financial well-being. And let's face it, having uh, strong financial health is practicing self-care. You're you're taking good care of yourself. It's I don't see it as any different as brushing your teeth regularly. It's a financial health can lead to better toothpaste, in fact, or higher quality floss or whatever. Um, so it is self care, and changing yourself, your tendencies, how you spend, how you invest, or if you not investing at all. Um, this, what is capitalism? Well, it's placing your capital behind a project or company. That's what capitalism is. And and if you're not investing, well, you're letting others, perhaps people who are greedy and who want to exploit, or maybe not want to, but just don't care if exploiting happens. Think, oh, that's a cost of doing business. Well, that's not helping the situation. We need your capital. If you care, we need your capital. That's how we reform. Um, so that's it for today. We'll continue our discussion on vehicles of change tomorrow. My name is Paul Lovejoy. I'm a crowd investor, and I see you are one too.